gentlemen, welcome to episode 19 of the 15 Red podcast with me, Scott McCarter, here in County Tyrone in Northern Ireland. I would, of course, normally be joined by my two colleagues, Graham and Mike, in Burton-on-Trent and Vancouver, respectively, but quite understandably, they have decided to take the evening off. They are occupied with other duties this evening, so I am in the chair myself tonight. And we've got quite a busy programme for you tonight. We've got the details of our guest on Monday evening. That'll be Gareth Allen. The details of that will be coming up later on. We've got a couple of shocks to tell you about from last evening's play. And of course, we have the latest scores in what is now the last 16 of the Gibraltar Open. Of course, the first thing that we have to do, in keeping with recent podcast tradition, is to wish Robert Milkins a very happy 45th birthday, although the fact he was whitewashed today 4-0 by Judd Trump will not have assisted the celebrations, but a very happy birthday once again to Robert Milkins. As I say, there have been a couple of shocks in the Gibraltar Open in the last 32. The most notable of which being that Mark Selby, the three-time world champion and two-time ranking event winner from this season, is out, having been defeated by Chris Wakeland by 4-2. Of course, all matches in the Gibraltar Open are best of 7 frames. But Selby's out 4-2. Shaun Murphy is also out, having lost 4-1 to Anthony Hamilton earlier on today in the last 32. Stuart Bingham, the former Gibraltar Open champion, the 2019 Gibraltar Open champion, is also out, having lost to Jimmy Whirlwind White. There are by 4-2 in the last 64, and then Jimmy White getting through in a final frame decider against Chen Zhifan. So everything in order for the Whirlwind at present. And in fact, I believe he's playing now. And I'll just bring you a score update on tonight's matches so far. We've got Jack Lisowski leads Anthony Hamilton 1-0. Lisowski having got over Fraser Patrick by 4-2. And as I say, Anthony Hamilton beat Shaun Murphy 4-1 earlier. Jimmy White and Chris Wakeland are 1-1. Jimmy leading by 62 points to 0 in frame 3 currently. Matthew Selt, the man that conquered Stephen Hendry, leads Sohail Vahidi 2-0 and is currently 19 points up in frame 3. And then Lu Ning, the 2020 UK Championship semi-finalist, is 1-0 up on Thepchaiya Anu, but Thepchaiya Anu is on a break of 87 in frame 2, so is about to go 1-all. The other last 16 matches to be concluded. You have Judd Trump will play Alexander Erstenbecker. Trump obviously the favourite after his 4-0 victory over Robert Milkins from earlier on, as I mentioned. And then you've got Mark Allen is due to play, and he's due to play Ricky Walton. Mark Allen, who was the champion of champions victor earlier in the season, will be looking for some ranking points. He's not in the Tour Championship in a couple of weeks' time, so he'll be looking for some good form going into the World Championship. And the Gibraltar Open, given the short format, is just the tournament for him. In terms of the ancillary benefits of this tournament, the European Bet Victor Series bonus, of £150,000 has already been awarded, and that has been awarded to Judd Trump. Judd Trump getting that £150,000 bonus because Mark Selby was defeated by Chris Wakelin, and the position at the start of the tournament was that Trump had to better Selby's performance in order to win the BetVictor Series bonus. The BetVictor Series bonus being a separate ranking list made up of the 6 tournaments that are sponsored by BetVictor. So Judd Trump has won that £150,000 for the second successive year, and you'd have to say, on the current state of things, that he is the favourite to defend his title, which he won 4-3 against Kyren Wilson last year. Interestingly enough, it would be Trump's 5th ranking title of the season, one short of the record that he set in the Gibraltar Open last season of winning 6 ranking tournaments in a single campaign. So that's sort of marking your card for further in the competition. And that, I suppose, leads me very nicely into my topic question. I know there's nobody to discuss it with tonight, but I wanted to sort of make the point about Judd Trump's, well, dominance of the sport in the last 3 seasons. He is the first player since Stephen Hendry to win at least 3 ranking tournaments in 3 successive seasons. He won 3 in 2018-19. He won 6 in 2019-20, and he is on course to win a 5th this season. And this dominance has been brought about by, I think, a greater application in Judd Trump's game, rather than and a greater understanding of what it takes to win. Because I think Judd Trump in the past was all about entertaining the crowd. We remember when he burst onto the scene in the 2011 China Open and then subsequently making the final of the World Championship where he lost 18-15 to John Higgins. But we remember the Judd Trump of those days. It was all out attacking, and a safety shot and safety play was almost a swear word to him. So because he couldn't play it, he didn't know how to play it. But he's matured as a player, certainly. And I think as well, there is something for Judd in consistency, because we all knew, and we'd known from basically when he won the English Under 15 in 1999, we knew how good he was. But it was only in 2018 properly that he began to fulfill that potential. And it was, believe it or not, in the Northern Ireland Open. And I believe, no matter what happens this week or at the World Championship and whatever, I believe that when the history of Judd Trump's career comes to be written, we will be looking back at the 2018 Northern Ireland Open, the first of the 3 consecutive Northern Ireland Opens that he's won, as the turning point in his career. Because not only did he win that tournament, but he beat O'Sullivan 9-7 in the final. And actually, if you look at the head-to-head between Ronnie and Judd, it's 13-12 to Judd in matches, but in finals, it's 7-3 to Judd Trump. And only John Higgins has actually got a better final record, albeit they have played 18 finals, as opposed to Ronnie and Judd only having played 10. So I think Judd Trump is a real, he's turned himself into a sort of Hendry figure. Yes, you may think that's a rather bold statement, but I think that Trump is starting to dominate in the way that Stephen Hendry. Now, of course, the recent losses at the Welsh Open and the Players' Championship demonstrate, I suppose, that he's human. But given that he has been dominating so much, I would say it would be very hard to see how Judd Trump is not the upcoming favourite for Sheffield. So that's just my thoughts on Judd Trump as he goes to defend, as he continues his title defence against Alexander Ursenbacher in just over an hour and a half's time. I'm going to give our listeners, or our viewers I should say, a couple of trivia questions. Put the answers maybe in the comments, or if you're watching on YouTube after this is posted there, put the answer in the comments there. So, question one, obviously for Graham and Mike, these won't be added to the prediction league, but question number one. In 1996, to win his sixth world title, who did Stephen Hendry defeat in the final? That's question one. Question two. Graham Dott won the 2006 World Championship, but who did he beat in the final? And actually, the answer to the first two questions is the same player. To give you a clue, that may or may not help you, but Hendry beat the same player in 96 as Dott beat in 2006. So that may or may not help you on the first two questions. Question three. In 1999, which Irishman, and I mean the Republic of Ireland there, which Irishman defeated Anthony Hamilton to win the British Open? Which Irishman defeated Anthony Hamilton to win the British Open in 1999? And question number four. In 2014, Ronnie O'Sullivan set a record against Ricky Walton. Now, those of you that have listened to the podcast studiously will know that I have mentioned this on a number of occasions, but Ronnie O'Sullivan set a record against Ricky Walton. But what was that record? What was that record? In 2014 in the Masters. And the final question, in what tournament did Mark Selby make the 100th maximum break in professional competition? In what tournament did Mark Selby make the 100th maximum break in professional competition? So those are your questions. I'll give you a moment or two to think about those, and while you are thinking about them, I will give you a score update on the present matches. First of all, Jimmy White leads Chris Wakelin 2-1. Anthony Hamilton trails 1-0 to Jack Lazowski, but is 40-0 up in frame 2, so looks like levelling at 1-1 there. Matthew Selt and Sahil Vahidi are still, it's still 2-0 to Matthew Selt, and Selt 35 points in front in frame 3. And Lu Ning and Thepchaiya Anu are 1 each, and Thepchaiya Anu leads 4 points to 1 in frame number 3. So, having given you that score update, I will tell you the answers to our trivia questions. I don't see any answers in the comments, but if I click on them, there are no comments there, but we'll see what we can do. And the first answer is this. The answer to the first two questions, Who did Stephen Hendry beat to win his 6th world title in 1996? And who did Graham Dodd beat to win the world title in 2006? The answer to that is Peter Ebdon. Peter Ebdon is the answer to that. So well done to those of you who got that. And the third question was which Irishman, which player from the Republic of Ireland defeated Anthony Hamilton to win the British Open in 1999? And the answer to that, of course, is Fergal O'Brien. Fergal O'Brien. The next question 4 was, or I'll give you the answer to number 5 first. The answer to number 5, at which tournament did Mark Selby make the 100th maximum break, was the UK Championship in 2013. That was. And if someone can, I think we've just had a scoring update. Apologise, I'll give you the answer to the other one in a moment. Yes, Anthony Hamilton does indeed level with Jack Lisowski by 1 frame. It's now 1 frame all in that match. 1 and 2. Yes, Graham. I see Graham has answered. 1 and 2 are indeed Peter Ebdon. That was the answer to those questions. Number 4 was what record did Ronnie O'Sullivan set against Ricky Walton at the Masters in 2014? And the answer to that question was, he set the record for the most points without reply at 556. So the answers you should have got: Peter Ebdon for 1 and 2, Fergal O'Brien for question 3, the points without reply record for number 4, and the UK Championship for number 5. So those are the 5 trivia question answers tonight. As I say to Graham and Mike, those will not be added, obviously, to your league prediction tables. I will leave Graham to no, I have to say, Graham, no, that is not the one I was thinking of. That was actually the following year at the Masters. That was the Masters 2015, but no, it was the points without reply record in 2014 against Ricky Walton. So that was the answer there. But moving on, I will leave Graham in charge of the Fantasy League table for tomorrow night. That'll be returning tomorrow night, God willing, at 6 p.m. I'll leave Graham in charge of that. And then we have some very, very exciting news that I have been left to announce. Well, it's been announced on our social media platforms that on Monday night, God willing, we will have our first guest. And our first guest is the former tour professional, Mr. Gareth Allen of Wales. And so, if you have any questions for Gareth, do get in contact with us. Leave a comment either on Facebook or YouTube when this is posted afterwards, and we will be very happy to skip through those questions and see if you have anything for Gareth on Monday evening. So that is a few we have a few exciting guests. Not only have we Gareth Allen on Monday, but we have the renowned coach Chris Henry on Thursday of this week, and then and we'll get him, God willing, at some point after Gibraltar, we should have the renowned Eurosport commentator Dave Hendon, and that is the one that I am particularly excited about, having been a regular correspondent to Dave Hendon's podcast in the past. So that is those are two bits of news to leave you with. I'll just give you one more score update and then mark your card for the other matches that haven't started yet. Lisowski and Hamilton are still 1-1, but it's 16-14 in points to Jack in frame 3. Jimmy White leads Chris Wakeland 2-1 and leads frame 4, 18 points to 2. Matthew Selt still leads Sohail Vahili 2-0 with a 48 point to 23 lead in frame 3. And Lu Ning and Tepchaya Anu are still locked at 1-1, and it's 7 points to 5 in favour of Lu Ning in frame number 3 there. So, having done that, we're going to just say a couple of more things to you. We've got Judd Trump against Alexander Ersenbacher. Now, Alexander Ersenbacher, I see Mike has joined us, or Mike is watching in. Good morning to you, Mike, and that Alexander Ersenbacher is Mike's sort of outsider favourite, if you like, and he is up against Judd Trump tonight. They've played once before, and Judd Trump won that in the Scottish Open in 2020 by 4 frames to 1. So that's an interesting one. I should, of course, say that we will keep you abreast of all matches between tonight and the end of the final tomorrow evening. We'll keep you abreast of all matches via our social media, Facebook, and so on throughout the course of this evening and, God willing, tomorrow. So keep an eye out on the group for that. I hope you have enjoyed our little preview to a little looking back on the Gibraltar Open matches from last night, and then looking ahead to matches that will take place, God willing, this evening. So with that, I will leave you, and I will trust that you will have a pleasant evening enjoying the snooker as the Gibraltar Open nears its conclusion after what has been a very, very long week, given that we've had one format of best of 7 throughout the entire week. But not to end on a damp note, and to say that we enjoy your interaction with the podcast. I'm sure I speak for my two colleagues when we say that we welcome your interaction. Do get in contact with us. Do leave comments underneath the posts, and we will try and respond to them as quickly as possible. Give us suggestions for content for future episodes. Give us suggestions for guests that we could possibly get, and so on. We would deeply appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. And with that, I will say good evening to you, and I will see you with my two colleagues, God willing, tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. So good night and God bless you.